The night Rachel Monroe tried to disappear, a single text shattered her new life. Someone knew her real name, her darkest secret, and the truth about her father's death. The storm rolled in without warning, painting the city in shades of black and silver. From the window of my apartment, I watched the streets disappear under a curtain of rain. My phone vibrated on the table, its screen lighting up with a single message from an unknown number. "You're not safe here, Rachel." Froze. Name. My real name. Hardly anyone in this city knew it. I'd moved here to vanish, to bury my past under new streets and new faces. But now someone had found me. The sound of footsteps in the hallway made me turn toward the door. Low. Deliberate. My heart pounded as the knob twisted once, then stopped. Silence followed, but the air in the room had shifted. Could feel eyes on me. That was when the memories came rushing back. The abandoned pier, the flash of a knife, the smell of the ocean mixing with blood. I had sworn never to think about that night again, but the past has a cruel way of tearing through the walls you build around it. A knock broke through my thoughts. 3 sharp raps, each one louder than the last. I forced my voice to stay steady. "Who's there?" Then a voice I knew far too well. "It's me, Daniel." The sound of his name was enough to send 1,000 conflicting emotions tearing through me. Daniel Rivers, the man who had once sworn to protect me, and the same man who had vanished when I needed him most. I hadn't seen him in over 4 years, not since the night everything collapsed. I opened the door a crack, just enough to see his face. He was soaked from the rain, his eyes searching mine like he was trying to read a language he'd long forgotten. "Rachel," he said quietly, "we don't have much time." The sight of him made my pulse quicken, but I stepped back, uncertain. Trust had been a fragile thing for me ever since that night, and Daniel had shattered it. "You need to leave," I told him, my voice low. He shook his head. "If I leave, you're dead by morning." I wanted to demand answers, but before I could speak, a black SUV rolled to a stop outside my building. The headlights cut through the rain, and I saw the silhouettes of 2 men inside. One of them lifted a phone to his ear. Daniel stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "They're here for you. And if you don't trust me now, you'll never get the chance to ask why." The rain battered against the glass, a steady, relentless rhythm that matched the pounding in my chest. Somewhere deep inside, I knew that whatever I decided in the next 30 seconds would change my life forever. And then, without thinking, I grabbed my coat. We slipped down the stairwell instead of taking the elevator. Daniel's hand brushed against mine once, not deliberately, but enough to send a jolt through me. The years had changed him. His jaw was sharper, his shoulders broader, but his eyes still held the same piercing intensity that had once made me trust him without hesitation. That trust had been broken, yet here I was, following him without knowing where or why. When we reached the ground floor, Daniel paused, peeking through the glass doors. The SUV was still parked across the street. The 2 men inside were watching the building like predators tracking prey. "This way," Daniel murmured, leading me through the dimly lit hallway toward the back exit. My instincts screamed that this was dangerous, but my gut told me that staying put would be worse. The rain hit us immediately as we stepped into the alley. The air smelled of wet asphalt and gasoline. Daniel's hand found the small of my back, guiding me forward as we moved between overflowing dumpsters and walls covered in peeling paint. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice just above the sound of the rain. "To someone who can keep you safe." "That's not an answer. It's all you're getting for now," he said, his tone sharper than I expected. We emerged onto another street where an old sedan waited. Daniel opened the passenger door for me, and I hesitated. Every rational part of me said this was insane, getting into a car with a man who had once disappeared without explanation, but the headlights from the SUV suddenly swung onto the street behind us. I slid into the seat, and Daniel got in on the other side. The engine coughed to life, and we sped off into the rain-slicked night. For the first 10 minutes, neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavier than the downpour outside. Finally I broke it. "You left me," I said quietly. You left me when I needed you. Daniel's grip on the wheel tightened. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. He glanced at me briefly, then back at the road. Not that night. If I'd stayed, you'd be dead. The words hung in the air, thick with unspoken history. My chest ached with questions I had buried for years, but before I could push further, Daniel turned sharply down a narrow road leading into the industrial district. The sedan pulled into an abandoned warehouse lot. The building was dark except for a single light flickering near the entrance. This is it, he said, parking near the door. I stared at him. Safe. This looks like the opening scene of a murder documentary. You'll just have to trust me. Against my better judgment, I followed him inside. The warehouse smelled of oil and dust. In the shadows, a tall figure emerged. A woman with dark hair pulled into a tight braid, her posture straight and commanding. Rachel Monroe, she said, her voice smooth but firm. We've been waiting for you. The use of my full name sent a chill through me. Who are you? I asked. A friend, she replied, though her expression revealed nothing. And the only reason you're still alive. Daniel stepped closer to her, speaking in a low tone I couldn't hear. The woman nodded once, then turned to me. They're not going to stop coming for you. And if you stay in the city, they'll find you within days. Who is they? I demanded. She studied me for a long moment before answering. The same people who destroyed your family, and the same people who killed your father. Her words hit me like a blow to the chest. My father's death had been ruled an accident. I had believed it for years. But the look in her eyes told me otherwise. Daniel stepped forward. Rachel, I've been trying to protect you from this truth for years. But now, there's no running from it. Before I could respond, the distant sound of engines echoed through the empty streets outside. Headlights swept across the cracked warehouse windows. The woman's voice was calm but urgent. We have minutes. Decide now. Do you want to keep running, or do you want to fight back? Something inside me shifted. I had spent years hiding, letting the past dictate every step I took. But now, standing between Daniel and this mysterious woman, I felt the first spark of something different. I'm done running, I said. Daniel's eyes met mine, and for the first time in years, there was no hesitation in them. Then we do this together. The woman handed me a small, worn leather case. When I opened it, I saw an old photograph. My father standing beside a man I didn't recognize, both of them smiling, their hands resting on a locked metal briefcase. That's what they want, she said. And you're the only one who can find it.